Well, joining me now as part of our Smart Landlord campaign in 2019 is Paul and Gertie from Platinum Property Partners. And guys, Property Tribe's celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Congratulations.
We've been all about creating smart landlords to help raise standards in the private rented sector. I know that at Platinum Property Partners, kind of being a smart landlord, that's part of your philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, being a smart landlord is a landlord that takes responsibility for not only the properties, but the business, the customers, i.e. the people who want to rent the houses or the apartments, and everything around that. So whether it's technology that you employ, just the knowledge that you pick up from walking around exhibitions like this, educating yourself. I mean, some of the stuff that we use at the moment in our business is new technologies for heating, control, for tenant management and property management. There's lots of new software out there available for that. And just staying on top of the various things that are happening, including legislation changes and what that can mean for your business.
Indeed, because in 2018, Gertie, we saw the velocity of change really increasing, didn't we, particularly in the HMO sector. So I guess the smart landlord has got to really stay educated and on top of their game.
Yeah, I think more so now than ever. To be a landlord, you need to be a professional landlord or you won't survive anymore. You've got to be so ahead of the game. You've got to know all the facts. You need to be so ahead of all the legislation out there because it's changing so much. In the 7 years I've been in it, it has had a huge change, and I think the amateur landlord now is not going to last very long anymore. And we need to be really smart. We need to be on top of our maintenance. We need to look after our customers who are our tenants, and we need to be going over and above for them because they have a lot of choice out there now, and we need to be way better than everybody else, looking after them, really treating them well so that they will stay longer and feel looked after by a landlord.
Absolutely. I know at Platinum Property Partners that you have a lot of training and a lot of support. Do you think a smart landlord is somebody that commits to kind of lifelong learning and wants to keep getting new inputs and as we were talking about, raising their game?
I think if you want to survive in property, absolutely you have to do that. You know, there are many landlords out there that are not connected to networks of any description, and therefore property can be quite a lonely business in that respect. So people who are joining networks, whether it's Platinum, whether it's Progressive, whether it's some of the many different property organisations out there, PIN and Simon Zucci's world, a lot of very good stuff is out there and supporting each other. So taking that step and actually joining those organisations or networks to learn from other smart landlords is a key part of it. And I think if I look at our own personal business, we tend to operate our houses of multiple occupation for the younger professional, so people who are, let's say, between their 20s and mid-30s. As a generation, they're far more smart and digital and tech savvy than I am. So if we don't keep up with that, we're not going to be able to service their needs going forward unless we stay on top of that game. And I think that's going to happen for a lot of landlords.
No, I think that's a very good point. Gertie, what else do you think the smart landlord should be doing in 2019? Where you obviously have the support of the PPP network. Where else do you like to get your kind of inputs from?
Well, Property Tribes has been brilliant for me. I go on there a lot, and I think it's brilliant for anybody who's not part of an organisation. I think it's probably the best one out there, to be honest. But they need to network. They need to go to lots of different events like the landlord shows, and they need to be with an NLA or the RLA, be accredited, which is really important. And it also helps them, if they are HMO landlords, they sometimes get discounts for the licensing by being part of these organisations. But we need to be accredited to show we are doing things the right way and we're serious about what we do. So I would definitely recommend that.
I think that's a very good point. Thank you for raising being a member of a landlord association, because I totally subscribe to that as well.
Absolutely. I think we're members of the NLA, and certainly they are one of the two big organisations with the RLA. They run continual professional development courses, and to stay an accredited landlord, you have to pick up these CPD points, you know, so you have a variety of techniques, whether it's attending courses, reading the magazines, or going on to various seminars to acquire those points. And that's all designed to educate you and keep that level of education and understanding of the business up at the highest level. I think that's a fantastic system.
It is. Now, at the back end of 2018, one of the trending kind of topics on Property Tribes was that there was concern about oversaturation of HMO rooms in certain cities. I know that you guys operate in different areas, but if that is the case, then is it important really more than ever not only to know your niche but also your tenant demographic, but also to see what your competitors are doing, because you want to be kind of one step ahead of them, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. It's worth out there to go out and see what other people are doing and making sure that you're doing better than them. So it's, yeah, definitely worth doing that. We have seen a bit of a real slur, and the market has dropped, but I'm noticing it's starting to get better again, and I don't know if that's a result of the licensing now has put the amateurs out, and a lot of people have tried doing HMOs, but it's quite hard work, and until you know how to do it properly, I think some of them might be feeling now it's harder than it's worth, so they might be leaving the market. But we are seeing in London it's definitely has improved a lot since June. And hopefully it means the amateurs are leaving the market and the professionals are now staying, and we're in it for the long haul. So I think that's the main thing, really.
What about in your area, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, Gertie and I were chatting about this on the way in this morning, actually, that we both felt that there's been an uptick in demand over the course of the last, I would say, 3 or 4 months, to be honest with you. Gertie's more central London. I'm out in the wilds of Surrey, in the north part of Surrey, just on the M25 border. And we certainly went through a lull for, I would say, probably 6 to 12 months, where things were just a bit quieter. You know, luckily we didn't have any voids, but just trying to find tenants as we were changing housemates around took a little bit longer, whereas now it's back up to the sort of normal levels that we would expect. And I think that's with landlords coming out of the market and the licensing changes, as Gertie mentioned. But something else that I wanted to mention, you know, one of the things that we do at Platinum is also to pilot new ideas, and this point about competition and staying ahead of the market. I was talking to one of the other partners the other day, and he's actually experimenting with renting a zip car and providing that for the house. So, you know, in his area, he's got housemates that don't have their own cars because, you know, perhaps they can't afford it or whatever. So he's looking at the concept and piloting, renting a car for the house for them to be able to use. I'm thinking, well, that's a really good and interesting idea. If that could take off, maybe there's a program that we could do nationally with, you know, with a car rental company. And it just helps to keep our houses one step ahead of what the competition is. Because if you could say, well, here's the room, this is the house, oh, and by the way, you have access to that car as and when you need it, and it's all included in your rent, what a fantastic proposition that is.
I love that.
Yeah, we just try different things.
And you'd need an electric charging point, so we have heard...
To be green?
Yes, we have heard about some landlords that are starting to consider these kind of things. I think it's so great if landlords actually do look ahead, even maybe 2 to 3, 5 years ahead, as well as kind of in the immediate future.
Yeah, I think we need to be a step ahead of the game all the time and keep looking at what's out there, and what improving all the time really is the way to stay on the top of this market, really.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both so much for joining me as part of our Smart Landlord campaign, and all the best for your property projects and endeavours in 2019. And I have no doubt that you guys are going to flourish, because I know that you both work to the highest of standards, and it's really great to have your contribution here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Good luck with the campaign.
Thank you.
Congratulations.